pouring dark. Back from the dead is a miracle, doc. They counted me out. Moment of truth, counting it down. Underdog story was down for the count. Back on my feet, back with a mic, back on the beat, back with a family that bang in the streets. The game on lock, I stand with a key. Standing my ground, I am planning to flee. Standing my ground, I am planting my feet. Taking a stand, embracing my destiny, shaking his hand.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. I got new earbuds today because I'm at my mom's, and I wanted to make sure at least I sounded somewhat decent because I knew I would look awful in the lighting here. This thing has some banging bass, and our theme song rocks with like good bass. Oh my gosh, it is so good. I almost want to play it again, but I won't. So what's going on, everybody? Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to support us, you can become a member for as small as $2.99 a month. That's it. But yeah, we're here on Sunday night. It's been a crazy weekend of activity, trying to keep up with everything. Everybody's asking where I'm at. Where I'm at is at my mom's house. We had a death in the family late last week. And we're here for a funeral tomorrow morning. It's my wife's cousin, but my wife's parents and my parents live about 30 minutes apart, and the funeral is in the middle of the two. So I took the opportunity to hang out with my mom for the day because really nothing's going on today with the funeral. We're just going to that tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. So there will not be a lunch with the Clydesdale tomorrow, as I will be at a funeral for that. But other than that, how is your guys' week? I know, Jamie, you had a major event this weekend.
It was a crazy weekend. My niece graduated on Wednesday night. I couldn't make it because I had to coach. Her open house was Friday night. So that was over in Grand Rapids. We stayed the night Friday night, got home Saturday afternoon. And then Lucas had his graduation was today. His open house isn't for a couple more weekends, so we've got a little reprieve there. But yeah, had the graduation today. So it was really hard for me to watch. I was we got home at like 7, and I was trying to watch the last 2 heats of Bag 9, basically just watching the 4th heat of the men and women to try to see what the heck happened. So I'm like a little behind on what happened today. This morning I was able to catch up on like Rebel and whatnot, but yeah, today was kind of a lost cause for me.
Kenneth DeLapp asks, wasn't Haley Rolfe at Syndicate your Battle of the Ages partner, Jamie?
Yep. I was her coach couldn't make it, and I feel like she kind of wanted me there, and I really wanted to be there, but it was Lucas's graduation weekend. So it sucked.
Yeah, this is the season for Clydesdale not making it to events. There's just life events going on for everybody this year. But we're going to make up for it in the coming months and years and make sure we get to some stuff. Carolyne, I know you have a visitor in.
Yeah, Lex is in town. We went to Cirque du Soleil yesterday. We went to the movies today. Lots of shopping, lots of training. Yeah, and then we're heading back to California. She leaves Tuesday. I leave Wednesday. For NorCal.
Jeez.
NorCal is going to be crazy.
It is.
I'm just curious how many people right now are like just messaging NorCal like, hello.
Well, if you would have been on air with us before we were on air, Jamie did a beautiful rendition of Lionel Richie's Hello. And that's what these people are probably doing to Blair. And I can't remember what the other guy's name is.
Ben.
Yeah.
Ben and Blair. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. I don't know how long this is all going to take. I did want to, before we do that, real quick, because he is a loyal listener and he's here a lot. Larry Young had a birthday yesterday. So I wanted to wish him a happy birthday. And he just moved into a new house. And if you want to be jealous, look at the videos of his new garage gym at his new house. It is off the chain amazing.
Okay.
So, but he's probably busy this weekend with all of that, but I did want to publicly wish him a happy birthday because he's generally here every Sunday night. So wanted to do that. So let's dive into, we'll start with Syndicate Crown. We'll go around the world to all of the different events that happened this weekend. But we're going to start off with the Syndicate Crown. Off the top, the people that earned their tickets to the CrossFit Games were Ty Jenkins and Jack Rosema on the men's side. And on the women's side, Brooke Wells and Lexi Neely. Any opening comments about who won the events? Well, first and second place.
I mean, Brooke wasn't a surprise. I had picked Ty. I don't remember if I picked Ty to win or take second, but I picked Ty to get his ticket. So not really a surprise on either of those two.
I mean, all four of them were in the running. It just depended on the weekend and execution and stuff like that. I thought maybe Caroline Stanley was going to be one of those two spots on the female side, along with Brooke, but it ended up being Lexi Neely. But that's not a surprise, really. She's, great at a lot of things. So
I do think a lot of people were counting her out.
I was. I don't even think I had her in my top 10.
I did, and I was really appalled that people were counting her out as I was watching other shows around the space. She was awesome this weekend.
She did great.
And the future is bright for CrossFit in the female division.
I was rooting for Reese Littlewood.
I do want to say Brooke is a different athlete with a chip on her shoulder.
I mean, she stayed in a qualifying spot the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Never came out of that second place, like went from second and then was first the entire weekend.
She came into today with a 48-point lead, and that was about as big as it ever got. And she really didn't have to do a lot today. She just had to stay in her lane, stay controlled, and she was getting a ticket because all the other athletes were beating each other up on the leaderboard that they could never get enough points to catch her. But she was, it is the best I've seen Brooke look at an event in a couple years.
Yeah, it's almost like people calling you out kind of changes you, kind of like Spencer there.
Yeah.
How close finishes.
Well, you know I am close with the pan checks,
Yes.
right? And I have battled with John Young about the pan checks a lot over my years. And to watch Spencer win 3 in a row. 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And do it in a way that and to finish and get interviewed and not talk smack back.
Yeah.
The class.
Yeah.
The class. That's why I love those guys. They're the most giving people I've ever been around. They would come to our gym in Columbus to do charity events all the time. They're just amazing human beings. And even though he never really got back into contention for a game spot, to win 3 in a row was a nice way to finish the weekend.
It's incredible. He looked so good on all those 3 events. So smooth.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess also that this was Luke's last competition.
I really wanted him to get his ticket.
Is it? He's retiring?
That's what he said. No matter what, win or lose.
Well, he has a family, right? Coming,
Yeah.
or does he have a kid, or is on the way?
He does. He has one, and one. I think they're trying for more.
Well, didn't they do the gender reveal in the French Throwdown or whatever of the?
Yeah.
So that's of the second child. Yeah.
She had the first baby last year while he was at the game,
Right.
around the games.
Right.
And maybe they are pregnant with a second child already.
Yeah.
I know they were trying. One on the way. Sarah Cooper confirms it.
Right. Yeah, because they did that gender reveal when he was over there for that other event.
But that's another guy that I have, every time I've sat down and talked to, has been just an amazing gentleman, and just a good guy.
Yeah.
Late for everything, but good guy. So, but yeah, it was a fun competition to watch. I think for me, not being an athlete and not really understanding programming like you two do, it was fun to watch for me, for the most part. I thought stories were told on the floor. I could follow the action. I thought some stuff like the cut rope really destroyed some people.
Yep.
And it's something we haven't seen in a handful of years. I think the tall box jumps, only one man really knew how to do them, and everybody else struggled. And Kenneth DeLapp, you ask about the finishes. Touching the chest piece made all the difference. We'll get to the broadcast in a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say live. It was probably excellent.
Touching the chest piece meant you knew who finished first, second, third, fourth, or if it was too close to call, you knew,
right?
Because there was an action they had to take at the end of the race, and I really did enjoy that.
Yep.
Any comments from you, Carolyne, about the programming or anything like that?
Well, I like the programming going into the weekend. I didn't really watch much this weekend, if I'm being honest on it. I watched about 5 minutes of the Echo Bike one, and then I didn't particularly like the broadcast when they were like talking badly about the athletes, that I just turned it off and continued my training session. But I was watching like the competition corner. I know, like I could see all the highlight videos throughout the weekend. So I was like in the know of like what was going on. I didn't really get to watch much of many of the competitions this weekend. I just was busy too.
Yeah, it's hard. There was a lot to try to watch for being a busy weekend. It just
and Lex is in town too. And like I said, like I watched 5 minutes of it and didn't particularly like some of the comments I was hearing. So
if we're going to talk about the broadcasting, on the good side, I will say I think they got better as the weekend went on.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like there's a difference between podcasting and broadcasting, and I was just hoping that I could like watch the event, and like the 5 minutes I did watch, I could hear like Bill trying to like reel it back in and get back to him wanting to do his job, and it just kept going back. Like the part that I watched was just bad mouthing Brooke for like 5 minutes, and I just felt uncomfortable watching, and it just kept coming back to her chest from the semifinals. I'm like, this is not what I want to be watching. I want to just watch the event and have proper broadcast of what's going on. I don't know if it got better, like you said, like throughout, but I wanted to see it there, and it just didn't quite hit the spot for me. It wasn't for me. So
I felt like Spin tried to keep it on track too when he could.
I don't think I had him on for the 5 minutes I watched. I'm not sure.
He would try to talk about what was happening on the floor. Like he'd be like, he would try to bring up people's names, say the time, say what round they were on or who was leading on the floor. He would. I mean, I saw some potential there.
So, and I see the comments already saying it was free, blah, blah, blah.
It was fuzzy a little bit too. Like when I watched it, like I don't know, maybe the internet connection got better too, but it was freezing a little bit was that the beginning of the weekend, just the one day?
No,
it really was primarily the first day, and then the very end of the day today.
I noticed
it got fuzzy again.
Yeah.
So I think it's just bandwidth in the arena. I'm trying to say that because I do appreciate someone going in and doing that work for free, and for us to get to watch it, right?
Like I think it was cool. Say that. And like the look of it looked great. Having people in the space go and do that and put their time and travel and like interviewing. Like I mean, it just wasn't for me particularly, but it's important to have people that are willing to step up in the space and do these things so that it's out there.
So I thought there were times where they were very professional and doing a good job. I think there were other times where they let it go. Like there was no need to have Taylor talk about his interaction with Brooke so much at the end of day one.
Was that in the post show? I feel like that was separate.
It
and
was.
They were trying to keep that separate. I get what you're saying. I thought Taylor was great on the floor.
I thought he was good with the post interviews.
Yeah.
I thought he really was.
Yeah.
So I'll say, I think 90% of the time it was fair and it was really good. And there was 10% of the time where I think that they at times crossed a line and made it like, I'm at my mom's house, right? There are things I feel very uncomfortable watching with my mom with me. And some of those were just too much, about 10% of the time. But this is the other thing I'm going to say, and this is constructive criticism. I thought that Bill and John did a very good job. I thought Taylor's interviews were very good. I think that at times they focused on a certain group of athletes, and other people were making moves that we could not see or hear.
Yep.
And that's the thing that frustrated me. There were, especially, and I'm just going to use Spencer as an example. They went into event 4 not thinking he had a shot, and he won that event, and you didn't even get a shot of him until the last minute of that event.
Yeah.
There were other times where Ben Smith was passing people and we never saw it because they were stuck on Mason Griffith, which I don't even know why. He wasn't even in the race. But I want to give them a fair shake too. They didn't have radios in their ears to be able to tell each other to move to the spot they needed them to move to talk about those people. And I don't know what expense that is to that broadcast. I know as a viewer, I was frustrated because I couldn't see the race that I wanted to see or the people winning that were winning. I mean, I'm yelling like, and to be fair, like John's going, Spencer's over here killing it, blah, 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 but he's not on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, oh, show me Spencer, show me Spencer. I'm literally yelling at the screen.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Sarah says that's the same for every broadcast, though. That comment, like, and saying that about this upsets me. Like, this is all we've been doing is critiquing broadcast. If the Sevonverse is going to shit on Brian Friend for how he tries to do it and act like it's so easy, then do it better and shut us up. But I don't think they did. And that's frustrating. Like, we have been very clear. Stop doing these solo shots. Stop showing somebody crossing the finish. Let's see the race. Let's see the finish. And I feel like we missed quite a few finishes. We got too much one-on-one. And I don't know if it's, Caleb or Souza just thinking, oh, there's our guy with the good body. Let's show him. Let's give the people what they want. Because in their podcast space, the people say that stuff. Let's see the good bodies. But like, we want to see the floor. I want to see a side shot. Give me Caleb on one side, Souza on one side, so I can see lane 1 through 5 and from one camera and lane 6 through 10 from another camera. It was a small, intimate floor. It could have been done so well. I don't know that they did do it better. They just watching Rebel Renegade, the production there was incredible. The lane assignments, the clock, there was always an issue on this broadcast. And I know they acknowledge the clock issue, but like, don't shit on someone else until you do it better. Like, be like, okay, these are a lot of things that we want to focus on and we want to do it better. And then maybe be like, okay, it was hard, or that I get it. I get what is taking Brian a while to learn this space and figure it out.
So CrossFat says everything was about doing something differently, and the bar being the same kind of stinks. I think it was a step above Brian because more cameras, but if you're looking through a viewfinder, you lose. I think That's a great point. I actually thought because they had behind the scenes access, we were going to get like UFC coverage where they go backstage and they talk to some of the athletes that are about to take the floor and stuff like that. I just was left with it's the same formula that we've been getting. And to their detriment, Jamie's right. Rebel Renegades was the biggest surprise of the weekend. I don't know where they got that production crew. I don't know where they got those people. They knocked it out of the park. And I was not looking for that at all.
Right.
Yeah, I only watched. Was it that one or the Far East one that had the pacing on the row as well? Was that?
That was Rebel Renegade.
That was Rebel. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like that was cool to. Well, I didn't watch like I said, I didn't watch any of them from this week. I was busy. But yeah, the Rebel one looked like it had some really good stuff.
I was surprised at. And the thing with Rebel is you don't know those athletes, right? Like a ton of us don't know those athletes. That's what I enjoyed about their they would show the lane assignments for a while and talk. Then they would, as they were running out, show each picture of each person. So then with their name, and then they'd re-show the lane assignments. So you could like get a feel. And it was small, right? There was like 30 men, 20 women. So it's easier to start to learn people. Someone up here said Rebels production was good, but their commentary wasn't as good. Like they didn't talk about the programming and the athletes. I maybe agree with you there. But
they did. They brought Facundo into the
Facundo was on there, yeah.
set, and they talked about the programming. I thought they did a great job. I mean, I'm not shitting on anybody because I really appreciate all the work that people put into this.
Absolutely.
This is just constructive. My biggest frustration since I've gotten into loving CrossFit is the cameras that they use and the camera angles that they use. And nothing was different this weekend. Right. It was a lot of close-up shots, one shots, instead of backing up a little bit and getting 2 or 3 lanes at a time.
Right.
That's when John and Bill are telling us what's going on, but we can't see it, I don't want a radio broadcast. I want a television broadcast. Right. And today you could hear Bill yelling, Caleb, move to lane 6. Caleb, move to lane 6, audibly out over. There's got to be a way to communicate that to them, just to not, like you could see Bill trying to change the camera angles.
Yeah.
And he would even say, leave both of them in the shot. Leave both of them in the shot.
Right.
And he's yelling that from the broadcast booth to the floor.
Well, it's not an easy job, right? And
no.
Like we're talking like it's an easy, like it's, we have suggestions or whatnot, but it's a lot that needs to happen. You need the right connections, the right people that know the races, where to put the cameras. Like there's a lot that has to happen for it to, go smoothly. For me, I just wanted to get a professional or just like an unbiased maybe commentary on what the action is, and then keep the other stuff for post and pre-show, which is just like separate from the main event.
Yeah. So for me, I get people talking about the commentary and stuff, and someone else earlier said you can just mute it, and I do agree with that, and I don't mind having to mute it. Like I basically had to mute East Throwdown. It was like elevator music the whole time. It was struggle bus, and I would have been happy muting Rebel Renegade. I just want to see the floor. Like that is the only thing, and I think Scott and I have every time we come on here after an event, pretty much our only critique is seeing the race on the floor. I don't care about the commentary. Like, honestly, I don't. Like, I didn't mind it. I can see why people would mind it, but I just want to see the freaking floor. I want to see what's happening on the floor when I'm not there. That's my only complaint.
Yeah. and this is the 10% I'm talking about. I was turned off by that they said for $500 they would put a camera on Brooke, and then someone paid that money, so they did. Felt like a bunch of little boys going out to pull a girl's pigtail. That's the 10% I did not care for. So it's a broadcast, not a podcast.
Yep.
And I think there's just a difference there. But
It
again,
sounds like Scott and it sounds like the Panchecks gave him some feedback. I mean, that's the thing. I hope they're willing to listen and make some changes. That's all we can ask. Like,
because you do have some very knowledgeable people that know a lot of like athletes in the space, and they could use, you know, their knowledge in a different way to make it just better. Yeah.
And Matt's in the chat. I mean, I would talk to him about this privately, and I thought 90% of it was great.
Yeah.
But my biggest beef with all of these is just getting a camera, getting it so I can see the finish, getting it so I can see the race. And I know that like Bill was trying by yelling like where the cameras need to be and all that kind of stuff. There were some frustrating moments this weekend as that. The rest of the stuff is just window dressing to me.
Yeah.
If I can see the race, then that's the basic bare bones I want. All the rest of the stuff is window dressing I can take or leave or turn off the volume if I want to or not if I don't want to or whatever. I did enjoy Taylor's interviews a lot. I thought some of the questions were very different than that you normally get after a race. I thought he did awesome with that.
Well, especially if he tested all the workouts, he would have like a unique perspective on the questions to ask, maybe on how, again, like, I don't know what questions he asked, but like as an athlete, like, and probably knowing how it felt, like you would know probably better questions to ask and different questions than regular people that are interviewing. Right.
And that's a great point you brought up, Carolyne, because there was a point where someone did something that he didn't think was possible. And he's like, I can't believe you did X, Y, Z. Because when testing this, I was like, I didn't think that was possible. And those moments were really, really good.
The cut rope climb one finishing the overhead walking lunge in 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I understand that you are not trying to fit in, like you want to do something different. I guess what is continually being done the same is these shots of a single person or a single finisher. And that's what I want you to do different. That's all I'm trying to say.
Amen. Yes. We just want to see who wins and who comes in second. And so we can talk about it more.
Love everything else.
And totally, I 100% appreciate the fact that you guys tried to pull this off.
Yeah.
Like there were years we didn't get to see this stuff because they weren't willing to pay the big money and nobody was willing to step up and you guys stepped up. Like, and I appreciate that immensely. It's just one small tweak that I want to see. I want to see the race.
Yep.
So that's it. But again, 90% of the time I enjoyed the broadcast. And that's a pretty high rating for me. Usually I am very picky about different things. 90% is pretty good for me. 10% I didn't care for, but I think that's anybody.
Yeah, I mean it's great that you have 4 events going on the weekend, and 4 of them technically you could watch, you know, that there was actually a broadcast that was viewable, because we've had years where you couldn't watch anything from different events. So that's a positive that we were able to see 4 different, even though you had to wake up early for the Australia one. But
Ken says you guys make it sound so easy. Go ahead and give it a shot. We are not saying it's easy. We understand it's a hard thing. We understand they didn't have earpieces or ways to talk to the cameraman. We understand all that. that's just the one thing that I felt was missing this weekend is a couple times the winner was not on camera, or John and Bill were talking about this heated race that was happening and none of it was on the screen. That's where all the other, like the people complaining about the sound and the audio, I didn't think there was a problem with that at all this weekend. I could take or leave any of that stuff. I know that they're busting their asses behind the scenes to get it the best they can. I thought that was minimal stuff. Most of the complaints I saw in there, I was like, come on, guys, like, give me a break.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I want to see the race. That's all. So just to kind of finish this up, Carolyne, you didn't watch much, but they put white tape on the GHD machine.
I did see the pictures of it on Instagram. I was like, yes, thank you.
They finally looked like a real GHD across the board. So the standard
was it easier to tell with that tape going across and not just like a lot? Because we've had it at regionals before where the line was just on the outside of the pad, but like having it actually go across
was better.
So this was the standard. Once you sat on the tape, the judge was not to see any tape when you came up and back.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if they saw the tape, that's a no rep. And I thought that was a really easy
was there a
way
lot of
to
no
judge
reps?
it.
Was there a lot of people that had to adjust, or once they actually sat?
Parker, I think, got a couple when he sat down. I don't think there was very many.
But what I will say, the form of the GHD was awesome across the board.
Yes.
It didn't look like my Instagram one.
It did not. It did not. So whoever came up with that, JR or
That's
Rogue
good.
or whoever,
Yeah, good call.
kudos. That made the GHD a GHD.
And it's visual too, right? You see the white tape as soon as they move up or whatnot. It's good.
Yep.
And if Matt's just here, what I started with is you guys did improve a ton from start of day 1 to the end of day 3. Like, you could tell you guys were busting ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that in my notes, and I just wanted to make sure that you saw that. So, again, just to finish up, the 4 people going to the games are Ty Jenkins, Jack Rosema, Brooke Wells, and Lexi Neely. That means that there's still some pretty big names out there that do not have a qualifying spot to the CrossFit Games. Past games winners, or not winners, past games athletes. So we're going to see what happens with NorCal this weekend, and if they're going to be allowed to be there or not. Our very own Carolyne Prevost is going to be there trying to get her spot. So can't wait to see her out there doing her thing.
For Ty Jenkins, is he the youngest male to qualify? Like, did he do it faster than Dallin and James in that group from the teenage division? Because when did he stop doing the teenage? Was it 2 years ago? So he missed 1 year and then it's this one, or am I off a little bit?
So I think George Sterner may be the youngest. Because George Sterner did it in 2019. And I think that was 1 year after.
Oh, he made it not as a team. I thought he only did it as a team for Sterner.
I think I heard that. I'm pretty sure I heard that. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think he's only made it as a team. Let me see.
Yeah, I almost feel like he's only made it as a team, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
If I had 2 screens, I would look.
I'm looking at my phone right now. I'm gonna look at it.
All right, so let's go to the Rebel Renegades with games. We talked about that.
Jenny said 2 years of teen and then 2019. So
still pretty impressive, because you've seen it done on the women's side a lot, younger, but it's been hard for the males to kind of do that. It takes them usually a few years to continue to develop, especially on the strength side. So to see Ty, get that spot. And, a lot of people are like, oh, who's going to do the most Isabels this year? And people kept throwing Ty's name in the hat. So pretty cool for him to qualify and do it.
Don't forget Ben Smith was 19 when he qualified. And he was top 10 this weekend.
Did he finish top 10?
That's pretty awesome. He did. I think he finished eighth or ninth.
When you have traditional CrossFit style programming, like there's, he's so good at that stuff. Like the amount of volume that he's done in his whole career, like he's just always going to be competitive. I feel like in those type of workouts, like he's just,
I thought that
he moves well. As long as he's healthy, I feel like he's great at classic CrossFit. Like there's nothing that can come up in a competition that he wouldn't be good at.
I thought that was a highlight of the interviews too, getting to hear people's stories with Ben Smith. And there was one story where one of the athletes as a kid went to regionals, met Ben Smith, got his picture with him, and now he's on the competition floor with him.
Wow.
I just thought it was pretty cool. And when Taylor talked to Ben about being an inspiration and maybe being the person that all these people there at the event were looking to when they started this whole thing. And Ben's reaction to that was awesome. So I thought that was pretty cool too. All right. Rebel Renegade Games. There was only one ticket for each side. And on the women's side, it was Christina Leviticus and Toby Buckland.
I can't believe he pulled it off.
I know. I saw Lynn.
Lynn was
in the comments during that broadcast, and she was going nuts that he had pulled it off.
She was on there like all weekend when I was watching.
Was it like a last event snag of a spot?
Yep. They had done kind of like that Copa-Sur workout, that handstand walk elimination event. That they did one of those there, and he messed up his handstand walk in the first round and didn't move on, so he did not do well. And I thought that was enough because like you can't have bad finishes there at an event like that when there's one spot. And the guy, so I felt bad. And actually, I don't know if you caught Hiller's story about Evie Hollis.
I have it ready.
I saw it.
I have it ready to show.
It's essentially, so the guy who was in first basically had his were worse than Evie. Like Evie's were fine. Like I feel like Hiller's post is correct in Evie's position, but like the El Agaduni or whatever, the other guy, his hips did keep like falling onto the wall, so he had to keep bringing him off. But yeah, this is
so you'll see here in a second. Apparently, there it is. So apparently she was getting no reps because her hips were not stacked. They brought over 2 head judges. All 3 judges were standing there. You can see them there. And they were all no repping her. I believe that Hiller is saying that he disagreed with that assessment.
Mm-hmm.
But
like she's holding that.
Yeah. You can't be competitive when you have to start doing that.
That sucks.
And it sucks. This is the stuff that I don't like. And this is why I wish there was I wish all judges could be the same, and they're not. There's going to be human error, but it sucks when someone moves well and has a judge who's going to be harsh, and then someone moves like shit and doesn't have a judge that is even holding standard, and they just can fly through and have no accumulation of fatigue.
Yeah, I mean, my only problem with this is the black pants.
On the black wall?
The black pants on the black wall make it really hard to see anything for me.
Yeah. For the broadcast, but I mean, the judges there,
right.
So that's what really matters, I guess, in the end.
Well, Well, they know Reptor. She was in first for almost the entire weekend after the first event, after the second event, I should say, and then lost it on the final event. But it was a tight race between 4 people all weekend long. And one of those being Sarah Sigmundsdottir, who ended the competition with 4 event wins, 2 second places, a third place, a fifth place, and that 1/15th place cost her a ticket to the games.
Yep.
Well, we talked about that prior to the competition, that when you have one spotter, when the depth of the field isn't quite there, those are almost like more stressful competitions because you cannot have one bad one if the other 2 or 3 that are in the hunt are just consistently like mixing positions of like 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. Like as soon as you get something out of that range, like you're done basically. Like, and for her to come back from that and get a spot on the podium was pretty cool. Because I don't know when was the last time that she was on the podium for like a major event. It's been a while.
So Craig says Sarah did great, but she can't run. Well, she has a terrible knee that doesn't even have like an ACL in it, I believe. And her most proud moment was that event that she finished 15th. Because in all competitions prior, she would do that run and then she'd be out for the rest of the competition.
Right.
She was able to finish the weekend as that run being the second event. And these guys did 9 events.
I know.
So my question is, every other qualifying event has been 6.
Well, Mayhem was 5. No, some of them, I think there was 1 or 2 that were set. That was 7.
There was a couple 7.
Okay.
But.
And I think NorCal on their schedule has 7. So it's not necessarily consistent. And like that plays a factor though.
Yeah, I don't know if because they have one spot, I think you sort of feel like they touched on this on the broadcast. Like they wanted to have enough events and make sure the person who got through was fully tested. Enough events. Like, I mean, when you have one person going, you want to make sure it's not it was strength biased and that person got through or whatever. Like they tested the whole gamut. They had 2 strength events. They had the long running event. They had, I don't know. I thought they had pretty good programming there.
Yeah, I thought so. Got a super chat from Julian Eiford. Do you guys know if DB and Justin M are still competing at NCC, even though they are already qualified for the games? I do not know.
Danielle's name is not on the roster spot in the NorCal, but Justin's name is still there. Now Justin has done like NorCal Classic in the past. Like he started there just because he's from the West. Like I wouldn't be surprised for him to show up there and throw down, especially with the prize pool. But I don't think that I've seen Danielle anywhere for NorCal.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. NorCal, not only is it the last chance for a lot of people, other than the last chance qualifier, is the prize purse is bigger than any other competition.
Right.
And so even like Colton's going to compete because he wants the money.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make it insane. And it's going to make it insane to try to understand who is in the spot and who is not. Now, what I did love about Competition Corner this weekend, they put tickets beside people who had already qualified. And that really helped out at Torian because then you knew who was eliminated from the equation.
Agree.
So I thought that was cool. But yeah, there's going to be people going to get the money. Lynn says Justin said he wasn't competing in it if he qualified in the first boys interrupted.
I do think I remember hearing him say that.
If he doesn't, then he might also just come and watch. Cause like his mom was there last year or the past couple of years. Like they often go and support the event. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's hanging around and just going to watch his friends compete.
Speaking of going and hanging around, that's the one thing we missed on the Syndicate Crown. I loved the athletes only heats where they would do one of the programmed events as athletes that were not competing, allowed them to take the floor and compete in that event. And if they won the event, they won $500.
How did that go? Like, did anyone win?
Yeah. So the first thing was there was the Isabel with John, the JY challenge. John came in third. Sam Demeester won. So Sam Demeester gets $500. Then they did the Kill Taylor. Kill Taylor was beat by the actual competing athletes. So I believe it was Lexi Neely got $500.
Lydia
And
Fish
then he had
on the
promised.
floor. He gave Lydia Fish
Okay.
on the floor money. And then Reese Littlewood came in the next heat and beat that. And then
Spencer
beat that. And yeah, there was all kinds of,
so anyone that was beating his time got 500, right? Or
it was just who won it overall. And then today they did none of those like Kill Taylor or John or anything. It was just an athlete. It was called the athlete only heat. And it was Haley Adams and Angelo DiCicco and Sam Demeester and Taylor and Lindsay Lane.
Athletes only was the name of the event.
Right. But that's what they were calling that heat too.
Well, they were doing athletes only. That was that event.
That's the name of the event.
Oh, okay.
I know, but that's what they were calling that heat as well. And then Austin Hatfield ended up winning that. Now, Austin Hatfield competed against Kill Taylor and could not do the cut rope and actually got eliminated before all of the intervals because he could not complete the rope climb in the intervals, and that was the minimum work requirement.
Wait, he couldn't do the cut rope?
No, he was terrible at it.
He basically was doing legless, and then he failed because he couldn't get them done in the time frame of that. Because if you didn't do the buy-in, you couldn't keep going on the intervals. Yeah,
he can't. He could have just squeezed with his thighs.
I know.
like the Brent Fikowski technique, Katrin. Like you just jump, squeeze with your thighs, reach, and then you get your footing.
That's what Brooke did.
He couldn't do any of that.
Oh, interesting. But he had great legless at Mayhem.
I know. You would think he would have gotten through just on legless. I just think I think probably if he would have just done legless, he might have been okay. But when you're trying to get your foot and then you're holding and it's taking long, like the fatigue just sets in.
He may have pushed too hard too because he's trying to win it.
Yeah.
So then Austin came back today to win, and he actually said, "I embarrassed myself yesterday, so I needed to come back today and win and redeem myself." But Haley looked really good too, but she always looks good on rope climb GHD workouts.
Oh yeah.
So
that's her jam.
Yeah. So yeah. But I thought that was a cool addition to the event. And it gives you the opportunity for the fans to mingle with these people who aren't there to compete, right?
How was the turnout for the fans?
I don't think it's what they wanted, but I think it was okay. Now, vendors were saying they killed it.
Oh, that's good.
But
really
every time I looked into the stands, it did not look as full as last year.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if they had it more open. Because they would block off last year where they wanted people to make it look. And maybe they didn't do that this year. I don't know.
Well, they did 2 floors too.
Right.
So it should have pushed everybody to one end or the other, and it still didn't look as full as last year.
Yeah.
So, all right.
What's annoying this year is the teams, it doesn't matter, right? You have a bunch of great teams that are there competing, but that competition means nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's not a qualifying competition for the games. And that's too bad, right? Because those are legit workouts, team workouts. And it would have been nice that some of these in-person events, that the teams get some sort of recognition.
Well, I think we talked about that last week, and it's something that Jenny brought up on Dense Updates, that when it counts for the teams, their communities come in bigger chunks than individual athletes, and that's where you get more attendance. So by cutting them out of this part, Syndicate had teams, but it doesn't mean it's not for a games ticket. So the community is not going to band together and come support just for a cash prize.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right, let's move on to Torian Pro. The Games tickets went to, on the men's side, Peter Ellis and Isaac Newman.
Oh,
And on the women's side, Tia Claire Toomey and Emily DeRoy. I think the event was what it always is, one massive party. And I wish we could bottle that and drop it into all the different arenas that these events go on, because the crowd goes nuts. And I see that I saw someone say something. Trying to live the dance break from Torian was epic. Watching the athletes go out and dance with the dancers was awesome.
Like, what makes it so successful every year? Like, are they like recruiting gyms like months in advance? Like that event is always top. Like, what makes what's the difference between that one and other ones? Is it because like ours is just diluted with the amount of competitions we have in North America, and like theirs is one?
It is. I think it's their Wadapalooza, their CrossFit Games, all melded into one thing.
yeah.
Because it is a community event. Like outside that arena, there are community events going on all weekend long. And then you add like the lights and the fire and the flames and all the stuff and the dancing. It gives it that Wadapalooza kind of party atmosphere. So I think that's the big deal. Now, the one drawback is being mentioned a ton in here was the stream. But the reason the stream was bad is they got picked up by Australian ESPN because of the party, because of what they do there. ESPN paid them to broadcast that on their Australian ESPN channel. So with that came a lot of restrictions on the stream. But you can't blame the event organizers for getting so good that a major network wants to broadcast you.
Yeah. And I think now it's starting to trickle down to YouTube for people to watch. I know day one was there. I haven't seen if day two and day three.
All 3 days are there now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just think that is. I see people say it's one of the biggest cities. It's also like their biggest competition of the year. You know, I think that's what Europe was. Regionals or semifinals in Europe, that was their CrossFit Games. That was their European Championship. And that's why those got sold out all the time, too. Here, people just take advantage of it. There'll be another competition next week.
Yep.
So the stories out of Torian were that Tia won everything but one event, and she took second in that. So that high rocks training took a lot out of her, or she would have won all 6.
Was there any doubt?
I mean, we talked about it like privately. I was like, Walton should win, or Gracie should win the ski or burpee one. But other than that, I was like, I don't think anyone touches her. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, no one is just in the same planet as her. She's so good.
Vi says, my issue with the website stream is using the rewind. Either my finger is too big or the interface just wasn't phone friendly. Hey, Vi, I've got the same problem. My finger is way too big to do the back and forth with the thing on my phone. So I have to do it on a laptop so I can use my mouse.
You could rewind I never even watched. I haven't watched 1 minute of
If it was up, you could rewind it.
Okay.
Once the day was over, once the day's over, though, you couldn't bring it up.
That's awful. That's
the only event I watched was the strict handstand push-up and clean one. And I was curious to see how Tia was going to do on that one, because like all of the other ones had very heavy gymnastics in it that I felt Tia would separate herself regardless, because her gymnastics, like ring muscle ups, et cetera, is so good. And I was just curious on the squat clean or clean in general, like if she would lose a little bit of strength from the high rocks. And she was just jogging from one side of the like everyone's walking towards their transitions. She was jogging, power cleaning, everything. Like no strength had ever been lost in this high rocks training. And I was like, damn, she's so good. Yeah. And then from that on, I was like, yep, okay. So game over for everyone. And she's clearly going to accept her spot.
Yeah, rumors are circling that she is accepting the spot. Proven made the announcement on
Instagram,
on their socials that she punched her ticket to the games. So I think it's a done deal.
Cool for Emily DeRoy to get back on the individual side. She took a break from the individual last year to go team and won, I think, with Cara and that group, right? They won the games in 2024. Mm-hmm. And then now back on the individual side, hoping that she'll, learn some experience from the team side and bring that over. And then on the men's side, whatever happened to Bailey Martin? Do we know his injury, why he withdrew from after the first event? Was it ever posted anywhere?
I didn't see anything.
Just curious what happened there with that one. Yeah.
Just to answer Jamie's question, CrossFit says ESPN had an embargo on the replay availability just to clear that time window. So whenever you broadcast on like a national network, they get exclusive rights for a time period. Then once that's done, they can move it to YouTube for replay. And that is because in Australia, they want you to go to the ESPN app to then watch that. So just to...
Can we not get Australian ESPN over here?
Probably with ESPN Plus. Do you have that?
Yeah. Nobody said that was an option. So I didn't try that route.
Ricky had a very, very impressive weekend as well. Like, if you look at his total points, I think he won everything but like in 2 second places, right? And Maddie was great too, just that it got overshadowed by how good Tia was. But Ricky was as dominant, I think, on the men's side.
Alyssa Stuckey says, on Proven's YouTube video, Shane said he went to the hospital with a heart-related issue. Someone else said that Shane said it was heat-related. So putting it together, I'm wondering if he suffered from heat exhaustion or something like that, or heat stroke, and maybe they just, out of precaution, took him to the hospital. And Terry says the broadcast was a pay-per-view format. That's even crazier that they're able to do that.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Well, hopefully they were able to profit from the event.
All right. So. All right.
What is Kipping saying? Ty got knocked out for box steps last year. I see.
Oh, we're past all that. Grant, come on.
He's catching up.
I thought something happened like in the last hour of they reviewed something and he's knocked out.
All right, so Far East Throwdown. This is the one I watched the least. I had to budget my time with travel and everything else going on. And when Jamie said they were playing elevator music in the background, I was driving and could not fall asleep. Did not want to fall asleep, so I did not flip over to that. But we have one man, one woman that got their ticket, and that is Morteza Sagat on the men's side, and on the women's side, Mariana Meza, which is kind of a big upset. A lot of people had Duan Young. A lot of people had Sahir Kaya.
Yeah.
But Mariana Meza got it, and she kind of got it late. Sung Young Choi actually won the event.
Yeah.
But she already had her ticket, so it went to the next person down.
Well, Mariana was winning after day one. Like she won the first event or second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was in the mix the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure she was ahead of Choi day one. Like, and then I think whatever there happened in Saturday, I missed a little bit on Saturday, and I caught up again this morning. She looked pretty good in Amanda 45. The other girl I was watching won it at the end. That was their final. That looked awful.
So any other comments about that? Because I did not watch this one.
That's a tough final.
Yeah.
That's a very tough final.
Yeah. And I was surprised how many people, like, I was like, oh God, why are they doing this here? You're going to have half the people not even like get through one round in like the 13-11 or whatever. And they did pretty darn good. Like, I don't know. It was, yeah. I was surprised.
A lot of people are talking about visas, trying to get in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure we're going to have that issue this year.
Yeah.
Politically, it's just tough to get a visa into this country now. And some of those countries, it's going to be even harder. So I saw Lynn say that Maritza is working with the same people who worked with Roman. So hopefully they can help with that visa to get them into the country.
I'm going to change the topic. Do you think that Guy's kicking himself in the butt for the Open?
Like Fuliano?
Well, technically, he didn't.
He would have qualified.
Yeah, but only because the other two did already. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know. When I heard Luke Parker talk about it, like he was saying that Guy has been processing the grief of last year way differently than he was. So I really don't think that that's even in his mind.
Yeah, I agree.
About the games.
I agree.
Okay.
So I don't think it was because he didn't think he could make it or anything like that. I think that emotionally that's what he had to do to get through this season.
Yeah.
So, any other big issues with all 4 qualifying events? It was a busy weekend.
It was a busy weekend. No. I mean, it's those foreign ones. The announcer on the floor for Far East she would do her China. I don't know. What are they speaking over there?
I think they're in Korea.
It's Korean. So she would speak, and then actually she may have spoke multiple languages, but she would speak, and then speak in English. And I mean, so as good as you're going to get, unless they do the multiple like language streams. I thought it was good.
I think Lynn brings up a great point. The teams were impressive this weekend. Caden at Rebel Games was amazing, top 10. And then the teen girls at Syndicate were off the chain. And then Ty qualifying for the games at 19.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
impressive.
Is Reese Littlewood or whatever her name is she still a teenager?
Yes.
18.
Oh, wow.
Miley, 17. She was the youngest one there.
She's currently still she's going to the teenage games, the 17?
No.
Graduated now.
Yep. Okay. Reese is graduated out of the teen division.
Correct.
But she's still a teenager.
Well, yeah. Reese is 18. Miley is 17.
Yeah. I agree. I'm not.
Yeah, they did great this weekend. Really, really good weekend for the teenagers. And very impressive again for Ty to break through on the men's side, because that is harder to do.
Yeah, I think that was really, there were high hopes for him, and that can either crush you or you can step up to it. And I think him stepping up to it is pretty doggone impressive.
Well, he won Wadapalooza in the RX division, right? He goes and gets second in the Challenger division recently. Now he's got this one. You know, he's building some good momentum right now. And right, like that Brute team again this year has Fee, Dallin, now Hopper, James, Ty. They have what, 5? All 5 of their bigger name athletes, they all qualified. Like another impressive year for the Brute team.
Yeah. Do you know what's really impressive about Reese and Carolyne? Because you didn't watch the broadcast, you probably missed this. She is with the coach of her affiliate that she just signed up for 4 years ago.
Love that.
And has been working with just him the entire time. And that, I think, is just, I love when that stuff happens.
That's great.
And so, yeah, I think that, plus I think there's some grounding with that when you're just kind of still at your affiliate, still with your family, doing all that stuff. But she turned straight savage on the floor. Like when she knows it's hers to take, she takes it.
2 event wins, or am I tking someone else?
Yeah, she had 2 event wins.
Two back-to-backs. Yeah.
She called them both.
Like, did she?
Yeah.
Did she have a background in gymnastics? Because those were the 2 gymnastics events.
She said,
like the more biased gymnastics.
She said that. She said from baby classes till she was 14, she did gymnastics. Okay. And then she started doing CrossFit at 14. So she's been doing it for 4 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And Miley Wade is really good too. And Lydia Fish is going to be great. I mean, Lydia
was good all weekend, just the snatch event, which is a tough one.
And the sandbag at the end was a little heavy for her.
Well, that's what kept Reese out.
Yeah.
I mean, she would be going if she finished 3-4 spots higher.
All right. Well, it was a fun weekend. So glad that all of these events were streamed and we could watch all of them. And I really do appreciate the efforts by everybody to do that. Just show me the finish of the races. That's all. So here's my mini riff for the week is you have 4 qualifying events going on this weekend. You have all of the creators in the space creating content around all of these 4 events. And when you want to get a message out in this space, do you throw it in the hopper with all of this shit, or do you do it during the week and a half we had nothing to talk about when we could have been talking about that? No, you put it Friday afternoon in the middle of this mess. You announce that you have a new Road to the Games episode out and that the Community Cup workouts are being announced. And here they are. Sign up. Let's go. You've got to be kidding me. Nobody's even seeing them.
I haven't seen them. And I'm like, and I need to program, get them scheduled for the gym because we're doing a competition.
I just scheduled them for our gym.
Did you?
On the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yeah. Have you seen them? You haven't seen the workouts?
No, I haven't even looked because I've been trying to consume.
Do you not look at our rundown?
Do you get an email?
Yeah, I have. I just haven't scrolled to that far down the sheet.
It has got, whoever is running the marketing department at CrossFit needs to be fired. Like, that is the dumbest thing ever. If you would have released Road to the Games on Wednesday last week, it would have 5 times as many views as it does today. It's ridiculous. I had to squeeze in Road to the Games today because I knew we were going to talk about it tonight, and I still hadn't got around to seeing it yet. And I watched it right before we went on the air. It's so dumb. So I'm really pissed about it. It's just laziness.
They need to make another run of announcements on Monday. Like a full rerun of everything, because people have been I see someone saying maybe this flurry of events will get people hyped up. Okay, well, like it got lost in the shuffle. Like I missed it. I mean, I didn't miss it, but I did. So like you need to announce it on Monday.
We had no qualifying events last weekend. That gave us like a 10-day window where nothing was happening. You had everybody's eyes and ears. All the content creators were starving for something to talk about. And you gave us nothing.
Yep.
You gave us nothing. Yeah, if you watched my show on lunch on Friday, you got the same riff. But I didn't have that many viewers on Friday because all the stuff was going on. And I knew it. I knew I was getting no views.
So why did you waste your riff on the Friday? You should have wasted it on an empty.
He's re-releasing.
You're doing exactly what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing.
I said to the 3 people that were listening on Friday that the only reason I did it last weekend was to keep the habit. And I knew I was going out of town and I probably wouldn't do a Monday show. So I needed to at least get it in and get my reps in. But damn it, people.
A taste of your own medicine now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They needed to announce it Monday or Tuesday. I understand Monday was Memorial Day. It may have gotten lost in that. So maybe you do it Tuesday before all this stuff starts up.
I am telling you, as a guy who does a show every day now, Wednesday is the prime time during a dead week. By the time you get to Wednesday, there's nothing to review from the weekend before. There's nothing to preview for the week coming up. You're just kind of in no man's land. And you want the content creators to share your stuff. That's how it gets out there. Anyway, so they released Road to the Games. It's with Abigail Domit and Fee Sagafi. Now I'm going to be the bearer of bad news. It was not good.
Uh-oh.
It was the worst Road to the Games that they have put out so far. It brought nothing new to the table. Nothing new. The only good part of this thing was the Brute camp, and they're all in it, go out for a run, and they're laughing and giggling, and Matt Torres loses his mind, and he goes into tough coach mode.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one thing that was relevant in this whole thing that I learned, that Torres has a switch. And when he switches it, it's bad.
He was not happy.
He was not.
Do you think that the Road to the Games is more boring now because the athletes have less in their lives to do than the past Games athletes? I'm just saying that because like none of them really work as much. None of they're just training all day. Like, is that just less content to follow? Like, am I wrong saying that? Or
no, I get what you're saying.
Like, there's less.
So it's just workout montages. Like, wait, there isn't really any substance
so there's
there.
Not,
I mean,
there's not much different than we see from the regular channels. And I think because they all have their own channels a lot of times, like you already know a lot about them.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I've interviewed both Abby and Fee probably more times than a lot of the athletes. They have so many interesting things in their background and in their stories. Concert violinist Fee was. And then she never played sports and she just found CrossFit accidentally. Like, I know that some people know that story, but not everybody does. And they've never seen it with pictures. She may have only told it on a podcast. She's of Middle Eastern and Mexican descent. And because of that, she embraces both cultures very much and loves to talk about that. And I think that's super interesting. Her family is super supportive. They're at everything she ever does. There's not even a mention of her family in this Road to the Games. We all know Abigail Domit was a fitness model before she was a CrossFitter. No mention of that. That she moved all over the country because of things her dad did as a professional. None of that mentioned. The only thing they talked about with her is how to smuggle a burrito into a movie. It looked good. Like, filming was great, but But it's again, it's all workout montage. Craig, I know Fee's talked about all that, but we haven't seen it. Have we seen her play the violin? Have we seen her practice the violin? Have we seen her like pictures and footage of when she used to do that? It's one thing to hear her tell the story on a podcast. It's another thing to tell that story with pictures and video to give you the full flavor of like how good of a violinist she was. You can't tell me that her family, as supportive as they are at every single event, have not taken a video of her playing violin.
Right.
And the only reason I've heard all these stories is because I ask these things on a podcast, but I don't get to show it.
Right. Well, maybe they need to not go interview the athletes or go get workout footage of the athletes. Maybe they need to go get some home stories of the athletes. Go speak to their coach, their mom, their parents, their grandparents, and get some background story. Like, dude, parents would love to like brag about their kids.
Isn't that what the old road to the games was? We learned more about the home.
Yeah.
We learned more about their home life.
Yeah, it seemed like it was more like a day in the life of, and it was just like a day in the life of their training and then what they did that day. That's what it was more like, a day in the life of Abby Domet or Feast Coffee.
Yes, Ken, like Hiller's been doing.
Yes.
Like we said last week with the last one, Hiller's Hopper video and Laura Horvat's WFP video, to me, are the A pluses of the year. Everything else is graded off of that right now. That's what the old road to the games was. And this is not it.
Right.
And so, trying to live hometown visit like The Bachelor. Well, I've never watched The Bachelor, but I have watched American Idol. They used to do the hometown visits with the contestants there, and that was one of their biggest episodes, getting to go home and perform in front of their home crowd and do all that kind of stuff. And you got to see kind of where they were from. That's the stuff that's really cool. Going to Jacksonville with Fee is less appealing to me than going to Cleveland with Fee and seeing where she grew up. That's what they did with Laura Horvat. They went to where she grew up, and they're like her old grade school and her old middle school and the gym that her parents owned. That's what was cool. I don't know. Kenneth the Lap says, have you seen Hiller's Hip and Steel video? Yes. That was a really good one, too.
Mm-hmm.
To find out that a man puts muscle-up rings in his living room and the hallway to his upstairs. Yeah. Like, that's the stuff that's gold. Not the working out in the garage. It's the finding out that he needs to stretch out his arms so much that he has a pair of rings in his living room to stretch while he's watching TV. And the only place he can muscle up to be warm in the winter is in the staircase to his second floor. Yeah, that's the stuff that's missing, in my opinion.
Yeah, because then it's just a day. Yeah, then it's just the training, and you're not getting anything else. But especially if that's like all they're doing during the day, because they don't have like, they're just training. They're being full-time athletes training for the games. Like you can see that on their Instagram any other day of what their regular day looks like. So that's why I didn't bring as much, but it just has good quality of footage, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Did they say who the next athletes are?
Yeah, it's Hopper and Dallin.
Oh boy. They should just do theirs together. It should just be one video.
They have a this is gonna get me in trouble. Last time I said it's gonna get me in trouble. Like we've been down that road. How about you give me a Road to the Games Reese Littlewood? I don't know enough about her. That's someone I'm starving to know about now.
But it's almost too late in the season.
Yeah.
Because
they
that
they
should have
did Road to the
started
Games
way
with
earlier.
people that never made the games.
Yeah, but then we got to see them at their qualification. We only have one qualification left. Like you do the Reese Littlewood 3 months ago or 2 months ago, and then you see her compete now. And you're waiting for her to see, is she going to qualify? Is she going to qualify? We now know the name, and we're waiting for her when she starts. You throw that one, I don't know, the week before she competes, and everyone's got eyes on Reese Littlewood that weekend. But right at this point, it's too late. I think if you're going to do someone that's like you would have to throw something right now for someone that's competing at NorCal.
Yeah.
And hope that they're in the mix.
And follow them the whole weekend at NorCal.
I think you got to do it before.
Yeah,
you got to know the name and then follow them there and see, and then you can see how they did and whatnot.
I agree a little bit with Carolyne because, like, you want to. I think what's missing for some people is, I mean, the Heat One app is good if you know anything about some of these athletes, and so, like, to your point, if 2 months ago we would have had some footage, or even literally 3 weeks ago, like a Road to the Games of Reese Little would have come out, and it would have said, and it would have showed like that she was a gymnast. Like, people would have known to look for her in those events. They would have been like, she like, that you would know more about their strengths and weaknesses, what to expect out of them. You would know who's going to kill Heavy Isabel, other than just looking at, I mean, we've done enough Heavy Isabels that you could look at the in affiliate semifinals and see people's times and have an idea. But I was the only one who picked Rachel Klausing for running. So like, if you could get stories for Reese or someone like Rachel, and people would be like, that's the runner. That's who we need to watch for in this event. Like, nobody even knew to watch for her in that event.
Yeah, you called that one.
I called it on the show, picked it.
I knew she'd find a way for the humble brag.
But you want, if people have those stories, they can root for those athletes. They're like that. I mean, in a way, that's what's cool about Heat One, but you've got to know something about people for it to work. You're going off John saying this is who he picked, and you're trying to like follow along, but it'd be nice to know some more tidbits about people.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Like, I'm the only one that picked Spencer to win that for event 4.
Yeah.
Just had to get my humble brag in there. All right. So the community cup events are announced. Okay. When I share screen, I'll go blind from you guys. So I'm going to try to do this. How does that look? Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. So, workout 1, this is for the pro division. The games have another post with all of the different divisions versions.
Okay.
So this is just the pro division. Pro is as many rounds and reps as possible in 20 minutes of 15 box jump overs, 10 dumbbell snatches, 5 strict handstand push-ups, 35-50 on the dumbbell, 24-30 on the box.
Interesting.
This was submitted by CrossFit Train. Remember, these were all submitted by different coaches from around the world, and that they just said they're affiliate. I think because they wanted to show that they're not from Mayhem.
No, those are the last chance qualifier ones.
Okay.
Because it's a Mayhem muscle up. Or hustle up, I should say.
Event 2 is complete as many reps as possible following the interval of 2 on, 1 off 3 times, and then a final 3 minutes of work, very much like what happened at Syndicate. Rounds 1 and 2, 15 toes to bar, 15 overhead squats, max calorie row. And then rounds 3 and 4, 15 calorie row, 15 overhead squats, max bar muscle ups. 75 and 115 are the weights.
as you go like down into like the novice or whatever, it's like max chest to bar, then it goes max pull-ups, max ring row, and then even the numbers of cals will go like 10 and 10 instead of like
Yep.
the 15-15, just so that they can allow themselves time to get to yeah. On the first one, the box decrease in height, and at certain point the it was hand release push-ups, dumbbell snatches, and then the box step overs. And even the numbers went down to like a 12-9-3 maybe for the knee push-ups or the hand release push-ups on that one. And the dumbbell weight too.
And then finally, workout 3 is for everyone, and it does not change. It is in 20 minutes, establish a 1 rep max front squat and a 1 rep max hang power clean.
This is what they picked, huh?
Sorry, I forgot to give kudos. That one is from CrossFit OGC. And the one in the middle was CrossFit Angola. So there you have it. Your Community Cup workouts that nobody saw that were released on Friday.
Thank you.
So once you're done with the Community Cup, you'll get a ranking within your level. Do we think that a max lift just kind of changes that?
I feel like that's a little bit silly.
I get that we didn't do a max lift with the 3 from the from the open, but the open just places you in a level, and then you have what, a 20% ish between each level.
It's not straight 20 per level, because like the pros only like 3%.
I like the second one.
Is like 7, so on. But
the second one's fun. I think I like that, like you have it one way until max cals, and then it switches, and then some people can like kind of distinguish themselves within like the max bar muscle ups, chest to bar, and whatnot. And then you have like the overhead squat, which is always difficult, especially mobility wise for people. So there's a separator there. Third one, I'm like, the strength one. I think there was another way that they could have included like a strength workout. And then the first one is that typical long one. It's going to come down really just to who has the strict handstand push-ups.
Yes.
Or like handstand push-ups in general.
Yeah.
Because I don't foresee the box jump overs with the step down mandated and the dumbbell snatch playing any major role in that workout. It's just a handstand push-up workout for 20 minutes.
So Lana, they are not factoring in age this year for this at all. You will just be given on the app, you'll be given a level, not for your age, but just overall. Like I got an email with my level, different from what I had for the age group piece. And that's what you go by for these workouts. Dave did say on his weekend review that they would, they were going to add age in future years, but right now age groups are not a part of this. If you did the open, you got an email with your level and this announcement. So.
Yeah, so you have from June 9th to June, I think, 15th to do them. In the CAP programming, they put them like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then like a regular week. Our gym is going to do it the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because we typically do partner workouts on Saturdays and stuff like that. But it'll be interesting to see how many people sign up, if it's popular, if they continue to do this, if they tweak it up for the following years. Because they haven't talked like a ridiculous amount about it. Or maybe they've thrown it in there a few times, but it hasn't really been pushed that much. The affiliate that I train at, CrossFit Coliseum, I don't think that we've really pushed very much on it, but I know that we're programming them, and maybe we'll put a push on it this upcoming week for people to sign up. What's the price of it? Because I know there's like a Yeti package for certain gyms, and like what's the incentive?
There's a t-shirt package, so there's a couple different prices. I haven't looked exactly, but I think there are different options. I think the base package is $20.
Okay.
Just like the open.
It should be. I mean, I think it's a great concept for people to do the open and then a few months later have another, competition to train for and just see where they stack up again against more of their field. But I find like a max
$40 if you want the shirt.
So $20 without?
I think so.
Like okay, so similar to
Jay Birch is saying 20 and 40. Oh, and you get the nutrition course too.
I heard that,
for the $40. So you get 40 with a shirt and the 1-day nutrition course.
Is that the 1 day, like the one that's already on for the CEUs?
I believe so.
Okay. And then that same weekend is the last chance qualifier. Am I wrong thinking that?
I don't remember.
Good point by CrossFit. The 40 comes with the online nutrition course, which is cheaper than the course. And if you need your CEUs, so if you're a level 3 or a level 4 who need CEUs, it's a cheap way to get you your CEUs.
Yeah, the last chance qualifier is, so the Community Cup is the 9th to the 15th. The last chance qualifier starts the 12th. And then you have the first 3 events due on the 14th. And then the last 2 events due on the Sunday. So for the last chance qualifier, they're putting windows for the athletes to submit the score. And they didn't do that for the semifinal. So that's very interesting to me. And you also need the 2 judges, the same as, and an affiliate. The same that we did for the online semis is for the same rules apply for the last chance qualifier. Because we received an email on that this past week. I wonder if any of these workouts overlap with if any of these ones will be in the last chance.
I don't know. Let's wait till NorCal is hot and heavy going, then they'll release that information.
Yeah.
Friday afternoon.
Dog with a bone. Dog with a bone right here. All right, guys. We are past our time, but it was a busy weekend. Taylor Self says they will not. The workouts will not overlap. He must have some inside intel.
Maybe he's a tester. Aren't the last chance qualifiers programmed by the community too, or are they programmed by CrossFit? I thought the last chance qualifiers were programmed by the community as well.
They said submit. I mean, I'm sure they're different. I would assume they're different too.
I hope they're different.
Taylor says he's guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to get anybody in trouble. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Well, guys.
Congrats to all the qualifying athletes this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 people going to the games. Awesome. Since Taylor's there, great interview with Ben Smith to start off the weekend. Really, really love that. And thought you did awesome with the post-event interviews.
Yep. We did really love those.
With that, guys, I will not be here tomorrow for lunch with the Clydesdale. Okay, one little mini riff before we go. Little mini riff. I've had the same template for thumbnail for Lunch with the Clydesdale for a while. Why does Talking Elite Fitness need to steal my template to use for their stuff now?
You did too good of a job. It just caught someone's eye.
I'm just a little peon over here in the corner. You guys are big corporate, have tons of people working for you. You can't make your own damn template? Come on. Now I'm going to have to change mine again. But anyway, no Lunch with the Clydesdale tomorrow because I have a funeral to go to. but then I'll get back to Columbus tomorrow night, and then we'll be back at it on Tuesday. With that, guys, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
We're trying, Taylor. Forget.
He's talking about them.
Oh.
Oh, you took it personal.
Yeah. So with that, guys, you guys are the best. So glad you guys are with us each and every Sunday night. We'll be back next week with the original Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. Bye, guys.